I am Slick Nick. Welcome to my Red Pill channel. My perspective on life is this. I'm not a victim. I will find a way to be victorious in whatever situation I'm in. I refuse to say, that's not fair, I deserve better. That's what Red Pill is all about. It's about, instead of worrying about things out of your control, it's thinking, what is in my control? What is in my control? What can I do about it personally? So that's something you're going to see throughout my videos here. I received a comment from a long-time viewer, and I think it's definitely worth accepting the challenge of making a video in response to it. So Mickey Mouse 5 left me a comment on a video called You Have the Power to Ignore It, Red Pill Video, Emotional Intelligence. And emotional intelligence, just to be clear what that means is, you could be the person who gets upset if someone flips you off while you're on the interstate. Or you could be the kind of person like me and think, well, they're having a bad day, and it wouldn't emotionally affect me at all. So it's knowing when to assign emotions to things. Does this event or this person merit my emotion, or does it not? Well, emotionally intelligent people know that almost all the time it doesn't deserve your emotion. So let's take a look at this comment from Mickey Mouse 5. Quote, I'm always curious about what things would get a reaction out of people who behave in the way you claim to. Someone insulting your loved ones, your manhood, physically assaulting you or someone you cared for. What would make Nick Shell genuinely angry? I believe every human being has a line, and if you cross it, there would be a reaction. Video topic, end quote. So yeah, let's go ahead and break this down. Now what's funny is, I've been doing these videos for years. You can go back to 5-6 years ago. I made multiple videos around the time I turned 35, because that's when the light bulb went off. I'm like, oh yeah, I control my own emotions. No one can offend me or insult me or hurt my feelings unless I give them permission. That's when I had that epiphany at age 35. So I made more than one video. These channels exist on this channel where I say, please insult me. If you type in on my channel, please insult me, you'll find a couple videos where I'm begging my viewers to insult me, to hurt my feelings, to disrespect me. And what's funny is those videos hardly have any comments, hardly anyone tried. Well, why is that? Because it's not fun. There's nothing fun about trying to insult someone if they're asking for it, I guess, ultimately. But it also takes a person who's very in control over their emotions to know that it actually makes sense though. If you're inviting someone to insult you, to try to hurt your feelings, how is that any different than if they do it without you inviting them? What does it mean? It's just a stupid thing someone's saying. It's something that a person who's not confident and happy in their life is saying. Because for me, I'm a positive person. I do not spend time wishing bad things upon people or saying bad things to people. I'm focusing on the positive. How can I bring more positivity in other people's lives? So already know if someone's insulting you, they're not in a good place. So like my mom always said, Nick, consider the source. When I was a kid and someone would say something to me that hurt my feelings, Nick, consider the source. Well, you better believe I've capitalized my whole lifestyle on that. So, okay, let's break this down. So someone insulting your loved ones. Well, first off, they don't. No one's insulting my loved ones. But if they do, I would ignore that person that's insulting them and immediately start consoling my family member that had the insults hurled at them and build them up. But as far as me getting emotionally affected by that, my focus is on the person who is being hurt, not the person who's trolling them. Someone insulting your manhood? No, I mean, that's fine. I mean, people do that all the time on this channel. Back a couple years ago, I would do, well, no, even now. I mean, all these silly things that I say at the beginning of the videos. I am Slick Nick, your personal Chad dad. I mean, all these silly things where I'm acting like I'm some cool person. Like, that's silly. That's my sense of humor coming out. So, but a lot of times people don't realize that. Like really insecure teenage boys, and they're like, you're not an alpha male. If you're really an alpha male, because I used to do that all the time, like jokingly refer to myself as an alpha male. It was all a joke. Now, I do mean the part about being red pill, and if people perceive me as a Chad dad, which viewers do, so be it. But it's all a joke to me. So I would say people are often insulting my manhood, but what does that even mean? Some teenage boy on the internet is making fun of me? Like, what is that? But in real life, if someone did that, again, that's a reflection of their own insecurity. Like, I feel fine about myself. I already know all the things I'm bad at in life. So, I am the flame, I cannot be burned. I'm quoting Matchbox 20, by the way. Let's see what else. Physically assaulting you or someone you cared for. So this is an example of conflating grief with having an emotional reaction. So if something like that does happen to people, whether it's to themselves or someone they care about, the immediate way to react is with grief and need to console the person that was hurt. Like I said, even if it was a verbal assault, or either way, where's my focus? On consoling and helping the person who was hurt. But as far as assigning that emotion to them, it's like this. And it makes me think of back when I was in high school, this is like 1997, there was a lady who had committed murder back in 83. And so she was getting lethal injection or whatever. And it was making headlines on the news. They're going to kill her and she's repented and she's not the same person. So, and that got me thinking, it's interesting that we had the death penalty for people who murdered people. So obviously there's the irony. We're going to kill you because you killed people. There's already that going on. But ultimately, if you take the life of someone who took the life of someone else, what does that really do? Does it make the murder part go away? No, that person's still gone. And that family has still lost that family member. All it really does is it gives us some sense of what? Like what? How does that really help? How is it any different if they just rotted in prison the rest of their life? It doesn't really change. If anything, the worst punishment is to suffer the rest of your life in a prison for murdering someone, the way I look at it. But people, in some sense, want that other person to be punished to the greatest capacity. So ultimately, but I think that's where things get tricky, because you will assign bitterness to yourself because you're so angry for what they did to that person you love, or yourself. You get so angry. And I still think when you see someone covered in tattoos and piercings, I had a song called What About Forgiveness that I've done on this channel. Check it out. And I talk about that. People often, they hold that bitterness because they never dealt with it. They never dealt with the forgiveness of it. And they're brooding in that. So ultimately, there's grief, and you need to deal with the grief, but to assign that as anger or bitterness, that's not actually helping. That's hurting you. It's continuing to hurt you and or the victims even more beyond the actual act. So to me, a lot of people will conflate those two, but as far as becoming emotionally affected, you don't direct that towards the person. You direct it towards the person who actually needs that love and support from you. Okay, so what would make Nick Shell genuinely angry? What's the line if you're crossed? Making me angry, I don't know, because I can't think of the last time I was genuinely angry about anything. I think I've outgrown that part of my life. I mean, but ultimately, being insulted is a choice. So it's almost like saying, Nick, at any point would you choose to be insulted? No, I would choose to not be insulted. That's how I operate. So I guess that's the answer to the question. You're asking me at what point would you not be able to help it and you'd become emotional? At what point would I assign angry emotion to someone hurting me? If I do that, they win. That's the bottom line. The other person wins when you give them that emotion. That's what they really want more than they're trying to control you, is what they're trying to do. So I wouldn't let them control me. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of knowing that I've become emotional. That's where I'm at in this point in life. That's my answer. We can keep talking about it if you like. Comments belong right here.